Good morning. All right, I'm late because we go late and then start late. That's how Tony operates. So you go till midnight, 1 in the morning, and then you start later on in the day. So, business mastery is about how to optimize and maximize your business. Wealth mastery is about how to manage your money that you make at your business or money that you make otherwise. But they do overlap. And we talked a little bit about money and finances the other day and, the difference between poor people and rich people. And it isn't so much how much money they make. Honestly, there's people who make gobs of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but they really have no wealth and they have no freedom because they spend it and they're leveraged. And then there's people that have very modest incomes, but over their life, become financially independent. They learn financial freedom and they learn how to accumulate wealth. And what's the difference? Well, the basic difference is rich people buy assets and poor people buy things. Rich people buy assets and the assets buy their things. So how should you learn that, or who should you focus on? Well, if you are an hourly employee or you are a salaried employee, but you should be an hourly employee, and they make you salary just so they don't have to pay you overtime and do things like that, like Walmart does or Walgreens does or those types of things, then and you have more month at the end of your money. Every month you never make it to the end of the month and you're always carried over and you've got credit cards and that type of thing. So Susie Orman is a good one to get you out of that. She shows you how to get out of that cycle and get to a place where you don't have debt. Now, once you start into that situation, now if you're somebody who makes a nice living, okay, but you work for somebody else and you want to end up financially independent, then that's Dave Ramsey, right? Dave Ramsey is the no debt, never go into debt, and you accumulate this pile of money. My problem with, they're both great, okay, and especially if you're in a situation where you're heavily in debt. They both are great coaches as to how to change that cycle and get out of that cycle and get into a situation where you're not making money for everybody else. The American dream is really designed to help banks. It's not designed to help you. Everything that you're supposed to do, you're supposed to have the nice car, you're supposed to buy the big house, you're supposed to do all these things. That's all designed to make banks wealthy. That doesn't make you wealthy. You're paying interest to everybody else. The people that are wealthy pay interest to themselves. They use banks as leverage so that they can make more money. They make the banks make money off of them, but they make a lot more wealth off the money than the bank does. So that's where guys like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you ever read that book, that's a wonderful book. Keith Cunningham was the Rich Dad and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I like his stuff a lot better than the guy that wrote the book. I think the guy that wrote the book is a little too, a little too crass. But either way, the message is great. And this is where Grant Cardone's stuff on money is also right. And I agree with his stuff when it comes to real estate and when it comes to money. Some of his other stuff, not necessarily on the same page, but that stuff doesn't matter. It's all about how do you really want to become wealthy, and wealthy people have cash flow. They have income when they sleep. That's the difference between somebody that has a job. If you own a business and you have to be at that business in order for the business to operate, then you don't own a business, you have a high-paying job. People that own a business, that are business owners, that business operates even when they're not there. That's the difference between a business owner and a business operator. And if you want to develop significant wealth, you've got to become a business owner. If you want to develop significant wealth, then you buy assets, and those assets create cash flow. And from that cash flow, then you go buy the things. You go buy the watches and the cars and the trips and the bags and the whatever. But if your mindset is, I'm going to pay off my debt and I'm going to save up enough money in order to buy this thing, then you're still working for the bank and you're never going to get to financial independence. That's Dave Ramsey. And the problem I have with that is it doesn't change your life. Okay, if you have no debt and have this big pile of money sitting here that's just sitting there, it still doesn't change your life. You've got a little bit of financial security, although you worry about the pile of money going away. You worry about the economy, you worry about the stock market. But because that money really doesn't pay you any cash flow, you've got to get into the 20 million territory before dividends start actually making a difference in your life. Because it doesn't pay you any cash flow, it doesn't impact your life. Whereas if you buy assets, if you've got a business or, of some type that creates cash flow for you of $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, which honestly is very easy to do, now that changes your life. And if you buy the right business at the right time, you don't care about the economy, you don't care about the stock market. All you do is you keep that baby running, and it generates money for you every month. And then each month you can look at it and say, okay, what do you want to do this month with the income that we have off this business that we had to spend 2 hours a week dealing with? And those businesses are out there. And that's the difference between somebody who's poor and somebody who's rich. It's not about whether or not you have a large amount of income. Take a look at there's lots of professionals, doctors and lawyers that make huge amounts of money, but they have no net worth, they have no cash flow, they're heavily, heavily leveraged. And at the end of the day, all of that income really didn't do anything for them in terms of creating financial independence. So that's part of what we're teaching and what we're learning here today. Have an awesome day, everybody. Sorry I'm so late. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.